dividing decimal, the first step you need to do is this. Now let's look at the first example, because I have series of examples here so as to help you gain mastery of this topic. Now let's look at the first example. We have 5.52 divided by 0.3. So the first thing you need to do is to assume that there is no decimal point, and then you divide like the normal number. So we are going to have this, the normal number 552 divided by what? By 3. So 5 divided by 3 will give you 1, and this will give you what? 3. If you subtract this, you have 2. You bring down what? 5. 25 divided by 3 will give you what? Will give you 8. Now 8 times 3 will give you 24. That will give you what? 24. If you subtract this, you're going to have 0 here, and then you have 1. You bring down this what? 2. Right? 12 divided by 3 will give you what? That will give you 4. Right? 4 times 3 will give you what? 12. So if you subtract this, you have 0 and what? 0. So your result is what? 18.4. So now how do we fit in the decimal after this multiplication? Now after this decimal point, you have how many numbers? 2 numbers. And after this decimal point, you have 1 number. So what we are going to do is the 2 minus the 1. That will give us what? 1. So what you simply need to do, that is a positive 1. So all you simply need to do is to count the decimal place. You have 1 number after the decimal place. So we have 184. We'll count this way, which is counting for positive, and the decimal point will be here, because after the decimal point you should have 1 number. So the result will be what? 18.4. So you see, it's very easy. Now let's look at another example to help you get the mastery of this. Question number 2 says you should what? Divide 996 divided by what? 0.1 2. So what you need to do is to divide normally without the decimal place. So we're going to have what? We're going to have 996 divided by what? 12. So you see, 9 divided by 12 is not possible. So we are going to look at 99. So 99 divided by 12, 99 divided by 12 will give you what? 8. 8 times 12 will give you what? 96. So you subtract this, you have what? This will give you 0, and this will give you 3. So you bring down this what? This 6. Right? So 36 divided by 12 will give you what? That will give you 3. Right? So 3 times 12 will give you what? 36. So if you subtract this, you have 0 and what? 0. So you see, our result is what? 83. Now let's look at where to place the decimal point in these numbers. Now we have 0, and then we have what? We'll have 2 numbers after the decimal here. So that will give us what? 0 minus 2, which is equal to what? -2. Wow, it's a negative number. So how do we deal with it here? When you have a negative number, you count from this way to what? To this way. So that simply tells you that you're going to have 2 numbers before the decimal place. So since we don't have any number, the 2 numbers will be 0 and what? 0 before a decimal place. Then you can put a 0 here. Sounds interesting, right? Now let's look at the next example. The next example will help you get to understand the questions, how to divide decimal very well. We are given 794 divided by 0.06. Now remember, we are going to do the normal division without what? Decimal. So that will give us what? That will give us 794 divided by what? Divided by 6. Now 7 divided by 6 will give you 1. 6 times 1 will give us what? 6. So you subtract, this will give you 1, this will give you 9, and this will give you what? A 4, right? Good. Now 19 divided by 6, 6 times 3 will give you 18. So it's going to give you what? 3. 6 times 3 will give you what? 18. Right? You subtract, this will give you 0, this will give you 1, and this will give you what? This will give you 4, 14. Now 14 divided by 6 will give you what? 12. 6 times 2 will give you 12. So we'll have what? 2. Right? The remainder will be 2. This will give you 0, and this will give you what? 2. Right? So 2 is not possible. 2 divided by 6 is not possible. We can put a 0 here and then put a point here, right? 20 divided by 6 will give you 3, because 3 times 20, 3 times 6 will give you what? 18. So you have what? 18. This minus this will give you what? Will give you what? This will go here. 10 minus 2 will give you this 2, right? 10 minus 8 will give you 2. Then this will give you 0. It will still go back to 2. This is what we call continuous division. So 2 divided by 6 will give you what? 0. 20 divided by 6 will still give you what? 3. So if you continue, 3 will continue to this. This is what we call continuous division. So having gotten to this point, the next thing is to do what? The result is what? 132.333 and the like. So what do? We have 0 decimal here. We have what? We have 2 decimal here. So how do we do about it? 0 minus 2 will give us what? Minus what? 2. What does that tells us? That means we'll have 2 numbers before the decimal place. So we're going to neglect these decimal numbers, right? And then we'll shift 2 decimal place. We'll shift 2 decimal place this way. So that will now make the point to be at what? 13233 point what? 0.33 and continues that way. So that means 794 divided by 0.06 will give us 13,200 and what? 33.3333. Did you get that? That's exactly how it's going to be. Now let's look at the final example. In this final example, you are going to see another 30s which is involved in the what? In dividing these such numbers. Now let's look at this. We'll have what? We have 9.312 divided by what? 400. Now we are going to divide it as if there is no what? There is no decimal point. All we need to do is what? 9312 divided by what? 4. This will be on the negative side. So it's going to be 9 this, because this is what? This should be bigger than what? Than this. So when we go about the division, we'll have 9312 divided by what? 4. 9 divided by 4 will give you what? Will give you 2. That will give you 8. If you subtract this, you have 1 and what? 3. You bring down this. 13 divided by 4, that will give you what? 4 times 3, that will give you 3, because 4 times 3 is 12, right? So this will give you what? 0, and this will give you 1. You bring down what? You bring down 1. 11 divided by 4 will give you what? That will give you 4 times, that will give you 2. 4 times 2 is what? Is 8, right? We'll have 0, 8. So if you subtract this, you are going to have what? Give you 32. Right? So 32 divided by 4 is going to give you what? Is going to give you 8, because 8 times 4 is what? 32. So that will give you 32, and this will give you 0 and what? 0. So your result is going to be what? 2328. right? So how do we go about the decimal point? Now take note of this. It's going to be very, very interesting. We have 3 numbers here after the decimal point, right? So this, because we take away the 0, is going to give us a negative what? A negative 2. We assume that is what? Minus 2. We removed 2 zeros, so this is going to be what? 3 minus bracket minus what? 2. So this will give you what? 3 plus what? 2, which is equal to what? 5. And it's a positive 5. Now what does that tell us? That tells us that we are going to have a decimal point. We are going to have a decimal point 5 places, counting from what? From this way. So what will that give us? That will give us 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? 5. So we'll have a 0 here, we'll put another 0 here, we'll put our decimal point and another 0 here. So our result is going to be 0.02328. This will give you 1, 2, 3, 4, and what? And 5. So the result for this division, 9.312 divided by 400, is 0.02328. You see, it's very easy. Now dividing decimal numbers can be very, very easy if you follow these few steps I've just taught you now. If you like this video, I want you to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to get more videos. Thanks so much for watching.